Hi, welcome back. You're on day 19 of your February movement challenge. I'm Amanda, founder of Liminal Space Yoga, and today's practice is mostly going to be lying down on the mat. If you would like a Pilates ball or a yoga block to assist your practice today, those would be two handy things to have, as we will be working on some more rehabilitative type exercises for today's movement practice. So let's go ahead and begin by coming down to the ground, taking a seat, using our Pilates ball, and if you don't have one, you can use a pillow or a yoga block, and we're just going to put it between the knees, squeeze the knees together, and then slowly begin to roll ourselves down. Bringing the knees into the chest when we get there, hugging the knees in, lifting the head up, taking a breath here, and exhaling. Go ahead, lower your head, lower your feet. And the next couple exercises are just going to be super simple. So we're hugging the ball or the block or a pillow in between our knees to kind of keep that alignment of the hips, of the knees, of the sacroiliac joint. So root your feet down too. Notice if you have space between your lower back and the mat, and then gently press the back down to the mat so that you're closing off the space and you're feeling some muscles in the core begin to light up. Let's go ahead, bring the hands to the core muscles, find your hip bones, and then slide the hands inward just a little and squeeze or press so that you feel those muscles just kind of pop and light up. And then release. Press the lower back in, feel those psoas muscles just kind of like pop into the hand so you feel it turn on, and release. Muscle, and release. So go ahead a couple times on your own, play around with kind of repressing the entire back a couple times, and then also maybe trying to keep the back and just lighting up the deep core muscles. All right, so maybe you're just going core muscle, relax, core muscle, relax. And maybe you're kind of like releasing the whole thing, letting your back arch naturally, and then repressing the back again, kind of checking in with those muscles underneath the fingers, holding here for a beat, for a couple seconds at least, right? And then releasing. So we're going to do a couple longer holds together now that we've had a little chance to play along here. So go ahead, press the back into the mat. Bring those fingers right where you had them, kind of in front of and inside of the hips, and then bring your thumbs up towards your rib cage. I want you to close the rib cage down. So just use your thumbs to kind of close the rib cage so that it's not flared and opened. And then gently begin to scoop the tailbone under. So closing the ribs, igniting the core muscles, gently scooping the tailbone, and then squeeze the ball between your knees. Keep the body braced, the torso and the back, and then a couple times release and squeeze with just the knees and the ball for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Good job. Now we're going to walk the feet in. If they've slid out at all, we're going to do that whole process again, pressing the back, igniting the core, kind of dropping the ribs down and in, squeeze the ball, and now we're going to lift up from here halfway into our bridge. So lift. So we're really focusing on the glutes, and lower. Lift, lower. Try to keep the glutes engaged the entire time. So it's not a whole lot of movement happening besides the lift in the glutes. Kind of keeping the thumbs on the rib cage, keeping an eye on that so that we know we're staying out of our lower backs and we're really just hitting the glutes here. Keep squeezing the ball in between the knees. Let's do 8 more. And again, if this is painful or if it doesn't feel good, switch it up so that it does feel good. Almost done. Squeeze that ball. Last one. And then as you come down, press the back one more time. Squeeze the ball one more time. Hold here for 3, 2, 1. Open the arms. Drop the knees over to the right side. Maybe hike them up. Keep that ball or that block there. Deep breath in. Look over your left shoulder. Breathe out. Take your time. Bring your knees and feet back to the middle of the mat. Resituate, readjust so you feel centered, and then drop the knees to the left side. Maybe carry them up slightly. Look over your right arm. Nice long full breath in. And a complete breath out. Great job. Bring it back to center. Find your feet. Remove the ball. And then we're just going to hike the hips over to the left so we can drop over onto the right side of our body, kind of in a fetal position. And we can use the hand to prop the head here by putting your right arm underneath and behind the ear. And we want the knees to be out in front of the torso and the feet to be back. From here, we're going to do clamshells. This is a very common PT exercise. Use that left hand to balance yourself and prop yourself up. And with the clam exercise, we keep the feet together and we lift the knee. So our left knee is on top. Maybe you're on the other side, but we're going to do both sides anyway. And we're just going to start to open and close. So it's called the clam because it's like a clamshell because our feet are staying together. Right? And so your range of motion might look different than mine. Mine might look totally different than yours. You might have a lot of range of motion here, and you might be a little tight and sticky in the hips, so it might be a little bit harder. Sometimes I like to use this left hand just behind my back and like kind of check in with my muscles on my back. Notice the tonus or the tension that's happening in there, just to remind myself to use the hip, use the glute. You know, don't force the movement from the back. Okay, and these start to get really hard after a while, so keep going. Let's see if we can do about 3 more together. Keep those feet together. Great job. We're going to stay on the right side, slide the legs long, use that left hand to prop yourself, and then we're just going to step the left foot forward and then bring the feet back together. So whatever the top leg, whatever side you're on, top leg steps and realigns. Step and realign. So it's a nice dynamic stretch for the hip muscles. Let's do a couple more. And this time we're going to step it back up to the top, grab onto the foot to hold it in place with our left hand, draw the abdominal muscles in, and we're going to start to lift and lower our right leg. So squeeze that inner thigh muscle, flex the foot. Maybe point the toes, see what feels better on your body. I think pointing actually feels better here. But you can do either. You can drive that heel up. It's going to hit different places on the inner thigh. So start to lift and lower. We're doing a couple more of these than we want to. But we're really targeting the inner thigh. Some of those internal muscles. You might feel little pops or kind of pieces of the body just realigning. Don't forget to breathe. Last couple here. Great job. Stretch that left leg long. Go ahead and roll back to your spine. Hug your knees into your chest. Just take a moment to even out. Maybe even rock the body a little bit, right and left. Take a nice long breath in. A nice long breath out. And then you're going to drop over to your left side into that same fetal position. Propping your head with your left hand. And getting the plumb line of your body situated so that your hips are in line with your neck. And then knees are jutting out in front of the torso, feet are together and stacked. Right hand can support you, or it can go to your back to remind you to stay out of your back and use your hips wherever you prefer. But go ahead and start to lift the top leg or the right leg. And close. Lift. And close. And it might be super hard on one side. It might feel like sticky, like you're like, my hip doesn't move like that. It doesn't really open, but we're working on it, right? So it's a movement practice. It's a process. Sometimes our bodies have trauma or injuries. And we just kind of have to meet ourselves where we are. And know that maybe one day the movement might feel different, but today this is what it is. And hips can be tricky. We'll do a couple more here. Good, and then we're going to straighten the legs out and start to step the right top leg forward and send it long. Step it, send it long. So again, just a really good dynamic stretch here. Any kind of dynamic stretch just almost feels like lubrication to the joints. We'll do a couple more steps to the top. And then we're going to hold it here this time. Reach with your right hand, anchor the foot, and then slowly start to lift the left leg and lower. Lift and lower. So targeting the inner thigh. And you can play around with whether or not you're pointing the left toes or maybe flexing the foot and driving up through the heel. So see where you feel it more, because it's going to change depending on what you're doing with your foot. You're drawing the ab muscles in, you're aware of those muscles. And we're just taking our time here. Last few. Last one. Good, stretch that right leg, top leg long, roll back over to your spine. Hug the knees to the chest, give yourself a little bit of a rock, right and left. Take a deep breath here. Let it go. Good, let's drop the feet back down. We're going to lift the right leg, cross it over figure 4 on the left. Hands are going to come down beside you, and just pause here for a moment so that the right hip feels good in this position. Flex that right foot to protect your knee. Bring that left foot nice and close to the glutes, and then we're going to lift. We're doing 8, so just one-sided bridge and lower. Lift, lower. Take your time. Press into the heel, light up the glutes. You don't have to lift all the way up, just do what works. So again, this is like a rehabilitative type exercise, and you might not be lifting all the way up because you need the rehabilitation. Right, so no rush. Last one. Great job. Switch sides. Bring that right foot nice and close. Take a moment to just allow the thigh bone to externally rotate. Flex into the left foot to protect your knee. And then grip with the whole right foot so that you feel it. Slowly begin to lift and lower. We're not climbing all the way to the top of the summit. We're just kind of pressing, feeling, lighting up the muscles and getting them ready. Right? It's a daily movement practice so that eventually all our practices add up and we're ready to climb to the summit. Great job. Both knees to chest, right and left. Take your time. And then we're going to rock and roll up and back. And we are going to stretch our legs out in front of us. Grab our yoga block. We're going to bring the block over to the outside of our right foot. We're going to bring the left knee in, situate both of our sitting bones on the ground, hold, hug the left knee, and lift up and over the block. Okay, you can keep it on the shortest setting if you would like, or maybe bring it up a little bit taller, or maybe taller. Right, so if you want to work from high to low, we're going to do a couple here on the tall block. Again, do what you can. Just clearing the block, and then when you can't do any more like that, drop it down. Right? And a little less clearance, sit up tall through the spine, press the chest forward. And then when that gets to be too much, go ahead, flatten the block completely. See if you can do 2 or 3 more. And then after that last one, we're just going to do 8 lifts here. Point the toes. 8, 7, up and down. 6, tall spine. 4, 3, 2, last one. Stretch both legs out. Give yourself a little bit of a thigh massage. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze both sides with your hands. Wiggle into your hip bones and then slide that block over to the outside of the left foot. Bring the right knee in, hug it tight. Draw the chest up, spine long. And maybe 1 or 2 to start, right? Kind of seeing like, okay, I can clear this. And then we're going to go from top down, just doing a couple, lifting up and over, keeping the spine tall, using core muscles, using hip flexors, doing as many as you can on that tall setting, and then when you can't do anymore, drop it down and work there with what you've got. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then take it down even lower. And just finding clearance over that block, doing what you can. Let's get one more. And then we're just going to lift and lower the leg. Point the toes for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower. Give yourself that massage of the meatiness of the top of your left thigh. Excellent job. Feet are going to come in, knees are going to drop out, hands around the ankles. So just breathe into this stretch here, kind of walk it out a little bit, and then hug the knees up towards the shoulders and release. 2 more times. Squeeze, release, squeeze, and release. I hope you're feeling really good. We've still got a few more practices to go this month. You have completed day 19 of your February movement challenge, and we'll be back again tomorrow for day 20.